what you have been talking about throughout the book. So it's very practical. It's not just straight reading. There are things that we can do as we read the book to solidify the information that is in there. And one of the things you say is that everything is energy, and energy is conscious. And then you mentioned that we're in a feedback loop. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I'm trying to remember what I meant by that.
Or anything that you want to talk about.
Well,
everything is energy. In other words, we're not.
I think what I meant was that the energy has to do with movement and creativity, and that feeds into consciousness, then consciousness feeds into energy. It's like, they feed each other because they are each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so the sort of higher frequency you get, the higher consciousness you get. The higher consciousness you get, the more you can do. There is a kind of an increasing feedback loop with that.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you can spiral down, you can spiral up.
Now, why is it so hard to spiral up when you spiral down?
I think it's because we're used to spiraling down. It's like a normal reality to humanity.
Yeah.
But, we've all had periods of good luck.
Yeah.
And you can sort of remember that, but, we don't think it's normal, so we don't, take it as normal. But there are times where you can feel that you're in a good mood, you like people, and then things start going your way.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they go your way, if you don't wreck it, then more people start liking you. And then you're more generous, and then you're more loving, and then more people like you, then you get more opportunities. Then, that's right. The spiraling up.
Yeah.
It's about increasing levels of creativity and the sense of how much you can do and how much you want to do. And, that kind of thing keeps you from getting old. I think it changes the aging process.
Wow.
Too. So you don't get old as much. It's a whole different thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds a little bit more like moving into an ability to be of service to others as opposed to being selfish and self-concerned and me.
Mm-hmm. Except that then being of service to others is selfish.
Well, right. It's the ultimate self-service, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pleasure.
Yeah.
It's what really the soul has as its experience of pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Is helping others. It's extremely pleasurable.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas noble self-sacrifice is, it's not really pleasurable.
No,
it doesn't help anybody.
No. Do you think, some of my guests have talked about this, and I don't know if you have any thoughts on it or if it's even something that you'd want to talk about, but some of the people mentioned that as the frequencies increase on the planet and as we're able to adapt to those frequencies, that it might even be conceivable that we will not have to experience physical death in this lifetime. Is that something that you've thought about?
I've thought a lot about it, yes. Because I think that it's maybe the first stage of that is thinking about what is a conscious death, where you can maintain your consciousness all the way through the process and not lose memory, so that you take everything with you consciously and you don't forget anything. And that you don't freeze up, you don't get into a fear thing, you don't go unconscious. And that way you can, evolve yourself. But now I've been feeling even more that this transformation process we're going through, with the energy in the physical body increasing so much, it's like we're dying while we're alive. It's like we're going through all the stages of a conscious death, but we're still staying here in our body.
Yes.
And so if we can do it right and get through it, we will have a sense of being here and on the other side at the same time. Right. We'll be interdimensional in a conscious way, And then we'll realize that, well, what's death anyway? It's just like you have the illusion of shifting out of the physical realm into the non-physical realm, but
right.
we're already dead because we're already in the other realm,
right.
a big part of us.
Right.
We're not going anywhere.
Right.
And, the soul is eternal, and it really is a real thing.
Yes.
Consciousness is a real thing.
Yeah.
I think when we get that somehow, and we can start to realize that we can kind of oscillate consciously between dimensions right now, go out and access that realm, then come back, and we're doing that every other second, every millisecond right now, like the particles in our body are blinking in and out.
Well, that's right. That's absolutely right.
But I think I've had an experience also. One night I couldn't sleep. And I sat up in bed, was sitting there cross-legged on the bed, and what did I do? I think I inhaled, and the room disappeared, and my body disappeared.
Wow.
And I was just like a ball of light floating in space.
Oh, my.
And then I exhaled, and the room came back.
Oh, my.
So with every other breath, I disappeared, and I came back.
Wow.
And the room reformulated itself according to my memory of it.
Oh.
And then it just turned and dissolved again, and then it came back again. And I thought, geez, this must be what it's like to die. You just dissolve the illusion of the bubble around you of the physical reality.
Right.
And you're just where you've always been, sitting in the middle of everything as a ball of light.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you start to practice doing that now, and are able to move in and out, then when you actually supposedly die, why wouldn't you be able to just come back right away if you wanted to, if you already know how to come in and out?
That certainly makes a lot of sense to me.
And I think that we'll start to get that. I think somehow this is just the first glimmer of what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But that we're free. We have access to everything, everywhere.
Wow. And there's a collective information in the field. I guess they call it the vacuum. That's called a lot of different things. But, the unified field or the space between our atoms and molecules.
Sure, yeah.
So on and so forth. So,
well, everything's there.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you've had past lives, they're all there. All the memory of every single thing that's ever been done by you, even by your lineage, by all your past lives,
oh, dear.
And by everybody else's lives and their past lives.
Wow.
It's all there. So why would you limit yourself, for instance, to only your past history
right.
for what you can use to create your present moment?
Yeah.
If you let go of your past and your story and your history and just relax, you could open up to all your past life knowledge, and then you could open up to everybody's knowledge.
It almost seems as if there were no time, that would also include future knowledge.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And I've always wondered, why does everybody get stuck on focusing on the past lives when there's got to be, the future is certainly there too, especially if everything runs backward and forwards and simultaneously up and down, I've always wondered why, we don't delve into the future a little bit more.
Well, I think that it is the future, certain realities in the future that are helping us align to it right now.
Mm-hmm.
That it is guiding us. It is a higher level of our own self. It's like, talk about superconsciousness or your soul's guidance.
Right.
That's future guidance. It's higher frequency guidance. And it already exists. And we're aligning ourselves to it so that we can know it in the now. In our now. We want to bring it in. We want to have it physically.
And that could relate to what so many mention as bringing the merging of heaven and earth.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So
we're really, what I think this is all about, it's not attaining something that's never been attained.
Right.
It's about remembering
yeah.
what we are.
Right.
And bringing the memory of that into the body and enlightening the body and turning it on all the way, like turning the light switches on in a house in every room.
Right.
And then we go, oh my gosh, yes, of course, this is what it is. Like, oh, how did I forget? And then letting the world operate according to those principles so that it becomes really what we would now think of as magical, but to the spiritual realm, it's normal.
Right. And do you notice also that as the frequency increases, or as we're able to tune into our own frequency and the higher frequencies, that there's an increase as well in synchronicity? Oh yes. And that could be partly because of telepathy. Mm-hmm. Where, like I always think déjà vu, when you have that kind of experience, I always remember that I dreamed it once. Like I had a dream about this where I was testing out future probable paths. Right. And then I already went down this one before once. Right. And now it's real. Uh-huh. And there's a closing of the gap between the potential and the real. Uh-huh. And I think synchronicity is slightly related to that, where things suddenly match up and you get the ding, sort of like, oh, pay attention, this is real. Right. This is the way it really is. Right. It's like a little tiny bell going off every time it happens. That this is normal. Like I have a thing where I look at the digital clock when it's my birthday. Uh-huh. Like all the time, it's just the month and date of my birth, and I see the time on the clock that way. It must be a game I play with myself, like that I'll say, oh, okay, when I see my birthday, that'll make me remember to get centered and wake up, Like I'm new, but yeah, I think the synchronicities are amazing ways that we work with ourselves to help our personality wake up. Yeah. It certainly does make sense. Do you feel that in working with all of these energies and with the people that you work with, that you touch upon, some kind of higher plan or divine plan? I would say, well, yes, that each person I work with, I feel into them, and I can feel sort of what they're built for, what they're trying to do in this lifetime. Uh-huh. That there is a sort of a desire that the soul has to balance things out or accomplish certain things or take advantage of the conditions in a certain way, and that it's very graceful, and the soul really does know what it's doing, and it does know how to plan and engineer things, and it gives me great faith in the soul, actually, to watch how people's lives have unfolded. It's a wonderful thing to do readings the way I have for so many years, because you see this sanity that's inside the soul. Uh-huh. Although people complain about it, their left brains are overactive, and I didn't do enough, or I'm stuck, or this isn't working, and I don't have this, and I say, yeah, but look what you did. Look what you've done. Right. And it's all evolutionary, and so the higher plan, I'm not sure that there's such a thing as like a big engineered plan, but I think there is a very loose, organic, evolutionary flow that adjusts itself constantly. Right. And it is naturally on a trajectory toward, a kind of completion of sorts. And it might take a certain amount of time. I'm not, when it translates down into this dimension. Right. But on the other dimensions, it's practically done already. Yeah. So I don't like to try to make things too linear anymore. Well, yeah. Things are morphing so quickly and adapting that, you have to keep checking with the higher causal plane or the Akashic records or whatever it is, and see, okay, what's the plan today, Right. I've noticed that a lot, that, I used to be able to, kind of peer into the following week or even a month, and have some kind of vision of what might be coming up. And the last few months I've had to pretty